we have 10 ways to build up your immunity. So this is what I'll be discussing. And just briefly to tell you a little bit about what I do at FACey, I do counsel patients one-on-one to work on meal planning and getting healthy habits going with nutrition. And I also teach wellness classes at FACey. So this is something that, so many people are finding useful right now, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So let's jump right into number 1. On the next slide, we have load up on nutrients. This is a huge tip because nutrients play a vital role in the immune system, and they're found in all the foods that we eat, right? If you eat a diet that has a lot of variety, that has a lot of color, that's the best way to load up on nutrients. So let's look at some specific nutrients on the next slide. Vitamin C is pretty well known for helping our immune system. It helps fight infections. It also works as an antioxidant. And if you're not sure what an antioxidant is, it's, it relates to when there are reactions that happen in the body. There's just chemical reactions that happen all the time. And there are radicals, free radicals that are formed because of these reactions, and antioxidants help neutralize these. And when there's a lot of free radicals, it causes a lot of damage to our cells, causes a lot of problems. So these antioxidants are great, and vitamin C foods are one of them. Vitamin C is found in lots of different fruits and vegetables as well. So your broccoli, your bell peppers are another great way of getting that. Vitamin B6, kind of going through the alphabet here, right? Vitamin B6 helps in maintaining our lymph system. So this is where a lot of our immune-related cells are traveling through. It's kind of the system. It's not our bloodstream. It's a different system in the body. And we have nodes in the body. For example, when you get sick, your lymph nodes puff up, right? So that's all part of the lymph. And vitamin B6 is found in a lot of different foods. So you can see between, different vegetables listed here, meats, fruits. So again, eat that variety and you'll be sure to get some B6. And I really want to stress the vitamin D. So this is a hormone that, a lot of us know to be an essential part of bone health, calcium and vitamin D. But vitamin D is essential for our immune system. And there are estimates of up to 40% of people in the United States being deficient. So this is one of those vitamins where I would recommend going to your doctor if you haven't already and saying, hey, can you please check my vitamin D level? And that's one that I help people supplement all the time. So this is found in not too many foods. You can see a few foods listed here. Mushrooms, exposed to sunlight, do have some vitamin D. So you might see that in the store. Eggs have some vitamin D. Milk, or almond milk fortified with vitamin D, but it's actually sometimes hard to get from the diet. So, fatty fish. We also see salmon there. That's another source of vitamin D. And it's known as the sunshine vitamin because we can get it after the sun's rays hit our skin, and we actually can, that helps us get vitamin D as well. But because of, the harm that can come from being out in the sun too much, we want to limit our time spent in direct sunlight. So the best time to get that vitamin D from sunshine is around midday, and even for 10 minutes, that is helpful. But again, we really want to balance the harm and benefits from staying out in the sun without protection. So get that level checked, and let's take a look at the next slide. So coming back to oxidants like that vitamin C. There's a whole group of foods that contain these helpful compounds. So they're found in green tea, beets, blueberries, kale, cabbage, beans, and spinach. A lot of the, superfoods in quotes. So, make sure to get your antioxidants. And oh, one of my favorites is, is dark chocolate. That has some in there as well. The darker, the better. And beta carotene is the next one here. So this is a precursor to vitamin A. And we can get beta carotene from foods like carrots, from sweet potatoes, apricots, a lot of orange foods, right? So vitamin A is really good for our eyesight, but it is also essential for our immune system. So definitely make sure to get these foods. Vitamin E is found in nuts, seeds, avocado, and spinach. Another major immune supporter, and garlic. So garlic just contains a lot of antimicrobial compounds like allicin, and these stimulate our disease-fighting cells. So, it's not necessarily a nutrient, it's a food, but it contains a lot of wonderful compounds for the immune system. And the last one I'll highlight here is zinc. So a lot of people take it around cold season. A lot of us know that it's great for the immune system. So I'll just share where it's found in our diet. It's found in shellfish. It's probably one of the highest sources. So foods like lobster, clams, etc. Poultry, chicken, and turkey. So it's much easier to find there, right? Much more common part of our diet. It's also found in red meat, beans, and some fortified foods like cereal and breads. And what I mean by fortified is zinc wasn't originally in that food, but the company that made that food added zinc to it. So it was fortified with zinc. And you'll see that in various products. So, with zinc, people who are likely to be deficient among other groups are people who are vegetarian or vegan. So especially if you're following a plant-based diet, make sure to get your zinc to keep that immune system strong. And overall, just your takeaway tip is to aim for about 5 to 7 servings of vegetables and fruits every day to get all those vitamins and minerals. All right, let's take a look at the next slide. Omega-3 fats. Eat your omega-3 fats. So our fats, are also really important in supporting the immune system, particularly with regard to inflammation. So let me introduce the concept of inflammation. It has to do with our immune system and healing. So when we get a cut on our finger, that's acute inflammation. We can kind of see it puff up, get red, get inflamed. And we know that our immune cells are coming in to heal. So inflammation is a very healing process. And, chronic low-grade inflammation can also happen inside the body where we can't see it in response to a lot of stressors. So for example, pollution, lack of exercise, poor diet, lack of sleep, these all or chronic conditions. These all create stress for the body and involve the immune system. And our immune system tries to heal and support our body through inflammation. Inflammation can definitely get out of control, right? And this is the root of many disease processes in the body. It's inflammation that has been going on for way too long, or in really high levels. So we want to keep the level of inflammation nice and balanced in the body, and fats help us do that. So there are 2 groups of fats that are important for inflammation: omega-3s, which get a lot of media attention, and then omega-6s, which don't get as much. Both of them are essential to the body, but we like balance. So you can see a balance here in this image, and you can see we don't get as many omega-3s, and we sure get a lot of omega-6s. Ideally, we want them as close to each other as possible. And most of our omega-6s in the diet come from seed-based oils like corn oil, so thinking of seeds, so grape seed oil would be one example, but probably the biggest would be corn oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, right? Vegetable shortening, margarines that use these oils, and meats and a lot of other foods contain omega-6s. So they're all over the place. There's no shortage of these. We get too much. So we want to shift the balance in the other direction. Let's see how to do that on the next slide. So there, are different kinds of omega-3, so you can see different ones listed here. ALA is alpha linoleic acid, and this is an essential fat that we need to get from food. Our body can't make it, but can't function without it. And our body uses this fat for energy. We can get it from foods like walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds. Right? So our plant sources of omegas. And we have other omega-3s in the body called EPA and DHA. They're used for different things. EPA is important for the immune system, as well as heart health. And DHA is important for our brain, our eyes, and our central nervous system. Very important for brain development too, as kids develop. And the ALA can get converted into EPA and DHA, but that conversion does not happen very well, right? It's very poor. So our body does need vitamins and minerals to help us with that conversion. So one way to support that process would be to get enough, right? To get enough vitamins B3 and B6, to get enough magnesium, to get enough zinc. Again, eat a varied diet, and eat lots of fruits and vegetables, and good, healthy, less processed foods. And EPA and DHA are actually found in certain foods. They're found mostly in fish, right? Which eat algae, and that's where we get our biggest sources of omega-3s. So your fatty fish like salmon, like tuna, like sardines, these are our best sources of these omegas. So if you don't like fish, definitely talk to a health professional about including an omega-3 supplement in your diet, or just aim for more plant-based omega sources. Let's take a look at the next slide. Choosing whole foods. This is big. This is really big. And this is, this has to do with processing, right? How much are our foods processed? And it's not like there's only two groups. There's unprocessed and there's highly processed. No, there's a range, right? It's kind of a gradient between unprocessed or minimally processed and high, right? So we want to aim for that minimally processed, side of things. And that's because our body uses and absorbs nutrients much more efficiently when they come from whole food sources. There is something about Mother Nature's packaging that makes it much easier for our body to, to get the benefits of these foods. So, there are a lot of gray areas. There are a lot of foods that are in between. But if you use your best judgment, that'll go a long way. So for example, if you're looking at, a brownie or broccoli, I think most of us will be able to say, okay, that one's processed, that one's whole. Right? So choose more foods like the broccoli, where you can recognize all the ingredients. And on our next slide, we can actually see an example of a product. So the kind of the red flags that I see here that tell me, okay, this is a really processed product, would be the corn syrup solids, which are sugar, right, as the first ingredient, and hydrogenated vegetable oil. So hydrogenation is a process that helps make liquid oils solid. And hydrogenated fats, so fats that have gone through this process, are linked to diabetes and to heart disease and inflammation. So if you see the word hydrogenated on a label, put that food away, grab something else. And the foods that are listed first on the ingredient label, that's what there's most of in that product. So if you see sugar as the first ingredient, right, it is a more inflammatory choice. It's worse for your immune system. So this food is not immediately obvious, right? It's kind of hard to guess what it is. So I'll give you a few seconds to guess, in your mind what this is. Drum roll. This is a powdered coffee creamer. And I definitely encourage you to choose less processed things to put in your coffee. All right, next slide, please. Feed your microbiota well. So what is your microbiota? This is the collection of microbes that live in the human gut. Humans are almost 50-50 human cells and microbes, which is incredible to me. There are about 10 trillion microbial cells in the body. Higher estimates are 10 to 100 trillion. And given that we only have about 10 trillion human cells, this is absolutely incredible. This is mind-blowing to know that we are half microbe. So we want to make sure that we feed those microbes well, because we live in a symbiotic relationship with them, meaning we give those microbes something and they give us something back. We give them a home and we give them food, and what they give us in return is health, right? They help manage our immune system. They help manage our digestive system. They help manage our mental health, right? They are so, so important. And a great diet and a healthy lifestyle is the best way to having a resilient and diverse population of these gut microbes. So on our next slide, we can see what they like to eat.
Apologize for the interruption. Just wanted to give you your 10-minute time update.
Thank you very much. All right. So fiber is what feeds these microbes. They love fiber, and the amount that's recommended per day is 25 to 30 grams. And the average American gets about 15 only. So I'll show you how easy it is to get 30 grams a day. If you have some Greek yogurt with raspberries in the morning, you just had 8 grams of fiber, the berries. If you have a cup of lentil soup for lunch, you've got 16 grams right there in that cup. And if you add broccoli to your dinner meal, you've added another 6. Now you're up to 30. Right, so it's a lot easier to add fiber than you think, and look for that fiber when you're planning meals. Next slide, please. All right, balance the plate. So, the best way to plan your meals in a way that has a lot of fiber is to follow the plate method. So half of the plate should be vegetables, a great source of fiber. And, this part, it says plenty of non-starchy vegetables here, meaning don't go for the starchy ones here. Starchy being potato, corn, or peas. Go for your carrots, your spinach, your mushrooms, your onions. Go for all the other low-carb vegetables for that half a plate. And then for healthy carbs, we mean high-fiber carbs. So we're talking whole grains. That's a great place for the potatoes, corn, and peas. In that quarter of a plate that is yellow. And then in the last quarter, we want some lean protein, right? And this can come from plant or animal sources like fish, beans, egg, dairy products, tofu, meat. And this helps balance out that plate and keep you satisfied. That small orange circle in the middle is fats, right? That's where our omega-3 fats go if you're eating them, and other heart healthy fats like avocados, olives, and their oils. Okay, so that's how to build a balanced meal. And let's look at some more examples on the next slide. So I'm showing you lots of visuals here. This is from MyFitnessPal. So these are examples that you could use for breakfast. We've got, lots of fiber here. We've got pistachios, pear, I see avocado, spinach, oats, walnuts, blueberries. That's why these meals are great for the immune system. Aside from all the other vitamins they have, they've got lots of fiber. And next slide, please. And here are more meal ideas, right? So they're colorful, they're fiber rich, they're less processed, they're full of nutrients. You can see everything from soups, toast, hot meals, cold meals, etc. And you can definitely use MyFitnessPal as a great resource to find some meal ideas. Okay, and then some snacks on the next slide. So again, even for your snacks, go for that fiber. We've got chia seeds here, a peanut or almond butter, and raspberries and apples, all great sources of fiber. Okay, next, stay hydrated. Right, so this is, everyone knows hydration is good for you, but the immune system is one of the reasons why. Water helps produce lymph, which I mentioned earlier, that carries, white blood cells and other immune system cells throughout the body. It also carries nutrients to where they need to go, and it helps to flush toxins and wastes. So rather going on a cleanse, just make sure you're getting hydrated and getting your wastes removed naturally. My tip is to is to drink at least 8 cups of fluids a day. And your urine should be clear or very light in color unless you're taking a medication or supplement that turns it a different color. Okay, next. So tip 7 is to sync with your circadian rhythm. And this is just the body's internal clock. So our bodies have a rhythm, they have a flow. And, so changes in hormone levels, changes in, in immune system activity, when we produce hormones that make us, chemicals that make us sleepy, chemicals that make us wake up, all of that is related to our circadian rhythm. So I highly recommend looking this up. It's a fascinating topic, but my 2 takeaways from helping your immune system with this is to avoid late night eating, which is out of line with our rhythm, and to pay attention to your meal times. Make sure that they're during the day and at regular times. So, going to bed at a reasonable hour, right, and avoiding, bright light at night all helps us sync with what our body's trying to do for us. Okay, next slide. Get quality sleep. So that sleep itself is absolutely vital for our immune system. Sleep is not just a recharge for our batteries. It is, where healing happens. It's where our immune system does its housekeeping and many other things. So you can see here, when we're not getting enough sleep, or it's interrupted, this impairs our body's ability to fight disease and infection. It increases stress and cytokines, which help create inflammation and target infection. They're produced and released during sleep, right? And quality sleep also enhances the ability of T cells, an important immune system cell, to destroy cells infected by pathogens like viruses. So get quality sleep. And on the next slide, we can see some recommendations. So for most adults age 18 and up, the recommendation is 7 to 9 hours. If you have trouble sleeping, if you have insomnia, I would start with lifestyle changes, but definitely talk to your doctor about either taking medication, natural supplements, getting a sleep study, whatever you need to do to get good rest. But of course, step 1 is lifestyle. And sleepfoundation.org or sleep.org are great resources on tips for sleep. These are both from the National Sleep Foundation. I highly recommend them. Okay, next. Regular exercise. So not only does regular exercise help us sleep well at night, it's all related, right? But it supports our immune system in a very important way. So how much do we need? Right now, current recommendations are to get 150 minutes a week at least of moderate or high intensity aerobic activity, meaning our heart and our lungs are working. So if you have any, pain, if you have any injuries, light activity or any activity that, your doctor says you are able to do, it all counts, right? I know it says here moderate or intense, but any activity, any movement matters. So do what you can. Right? That's my recommendation. If you can't make 150, that's okay. Just do your best. And muscle strengthening activities are also recommended for at least 2 days a week. So you don't need to necessarily go to a gym and lift weights, but you do need to, somehow give your muscles resistance. This could be a home body workout. This could be yoga. This can be, just doing office chair exercises. Just pushing yourself off of your own chair is a push-up, right? So even to take a 5-minute break from work, that counts. And next slide, please. For our last tip, it's managing stress. Stress hormones suppress the ability of our immune system to do its job. We are either in rest and digest mode or we are in fight or flight mode. So that means that during stress, digestion doesn't work properly, which is a big deal because we want to get those nutrients from the foods we eat. And stress can also affect the immune system indirectly if you are coping with your stress in an unhealthy way. So for example, drinking, smoking, emotional eating, stress eating, those all affect our immune system as well. So I would recommend on the next slide, checking out some of these resources. So the last one here, helpguide.org, has some great relaxation techniques like deep breathing, meditation, and other tips and tricks for managing our body stress response. We can't get rid of stress, but we can manage it in better ways. So that's one great place to get information. And then the rest have tips on other things I've covered. We have heart.org, American Heart Association, got Mayo Clinic, eatright.org, that's the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and Eating Well, which has a whole page on healthy immunity diet guidelines. So, make sure that you're getting information from credible sources like these. There's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet. So I definitely recommend, again, credible sources and or, meeting with a dietitian one-on-one if you feel like you can use that extra support for your diet. So that's the end of my presentation for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm ready to take questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nina. That was great. You provided some really excellent information and tips that I know everyone that is watching will find them very useful. So I do have some questions here for you. The first one is, they would love to know what you recommend eating for lunch and dinner.
So I recommend, there's lots of great things to eat, and you can actually go back to the one of the slides that had some lunch and dinner meals shown, but I recommend a balanced meal, again, with fiber, with nutrients. Some of the examples on that slide that we saw previously included a meal with brown rice, some salmon, and vegetables. Again, half a plate veggies, quarter plate of some kind of lean protein, whether that's chicken, whether that's fish, tofu, etc., eggs, and then a quarter plate of, a healthy fiber-rich carb. It can be brown rice, it can be quinoa, it can be beans. Beans are actually a starch as well. Or if you, don't do well with any of those, even a side of fruit, is a great way to go too. But the idea is that there are so many different combinations of foods that you can put together using that balanced plate and keeping in mind, the fiber and other things I mentioned.
That's great. Thank you. Next one is in regards to fast food. So, busy lifestyle, sometimes fast food's the only option. Are there certain fast food places that you would recommend eating or, going to?
Yeah. So, with fast food, there are definitely better options and worse options. I would recommend going for any fast food establishment that offers options that will, let you choose a vegetable, that will help let you, customize and include fiber-rich carbs. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking about, Chipotle, very easily customizable. They have plenty of veggie-rich options. They have brown rice, they have beans, lots of fiber available in their meals. Thinking about Subway, you can get whole grain bread, you can even make a salad, you can get plenty of vegetables to choose from on your sandwich. Baja Fresh, lots of salad options there as well, and beans and fiber-rich foods. A lot of places offer salads, even places like McDonald's, right, or other more typical, places that you think of when I say fast food, The Habit. They offer, maybe Southwest salad, right? This is a great immune strengthening meal. So, one suggestion that I have with eating out is to customize. Don't be shy about asking for substitutions, asking for sauce on the side, asking for veggies instead of fries. Uh, you know, make the meal balanced and don't be shy about asking for that.
Definitely makes sense. Thank you. Next one is thoughts on smoothies. Is there enough fiber if you make it at home with romaine, fruit, yogurt, etc.?
Absolutely. So blending up the same foods that we talked about eating is great. I would recommend having some form of protein in your smoothie just to keep you satisfied and keep it balanced. And when I say balanced, one of the things that having that protein helps balance is actually our blood sugar. When we have wild swings in our blood sugar, this is actually bad for our immune system. This creates inflammation. And protein, when it's together with a carb, actually helps stabilize it, right? So we don't get these big swings in blood sugar. It's nice and calm. We don't want a roller coaster. We want nice and smooth. So, so having protein in your smoothie helps with that. And examples of protein you can add to your smoothie. So I'm, just thinking of a sample smoothie that's easy to throw together. If you do, a small ripe banana with a nut butter, like peanut butter or almond butter, some unsweetened almond milk, and a small handful of spinach, maybe some cinnamon, and you've got, a balanced smoothie. But there are lots of things you can blend together. You could do like maybe plain Greek yogurt with, some tropical fruits. You could do a little banana, a little mango, a little pineapple, and a liquid like water or unsweetened, nut milk of some kind, maybe unsweetened coconut milk to make it kind of tropical. But that's balanced because of that protein that's in the Greek yogurt, and then there's plenty of fiber from the fruit.
Sounds delicious. Last
I know,
couple
right?
questions here.
Mhm.
If I'm going to eat meat, what would you suggest are the top three choices?
Top three choices. So with meat, I'm guessing we're talking about like just lean animal proteins. So I think that poultry tends to be lower in fats. So chicken, turkey are great options, and red meat we recommend limiting for a variety of reasons. It includes the high saturated fat content because a lot of our meats are high in solid fats, right? We call that saturated fat, and this helps contribute this contributes to higher cholesterol and, and it does not support the body in large amounts. So that's why we want to limit that red meat. It's also been linked to certain cancer risk in population studies, population research. So that's why, I would limit that to maybe, once a week or so. And red meat it comes from animals that walk on all fours. So think, beef, pork, who else walks on all fours? So one more. Anyway, I'll think of it later. But our four-legged animals make our red meat. Lamb, there we go. That's what I was thinking about. So that would probably be my top 3 of the meat category.
Perfect. And the last question we have is, what is your opinion on organic versus non-organic?
Sure. So organic and non-organic. So 2 things I want to talk about. One is, what it is and what it isn't. Organic is it's a way of producing our produce or our animal products. So in other words, there are certain things that are allowed and not allowed. Pesticides are allowed in organic produce. They just have to be a certain kind of pesticide. Synthetic is not allowed, but certain pesticides are. So it's not completely pesticide free, but they're more natural. And certain other things are also not allowed in organic produce. But just because you're looking at a product and it says organic on it, that doesn't automatically make it healthy for you or good for your immune system. For example, organic gummy bears, right? Still full of sugar, still not a health food, right? So buying them organic isn't necessarily going to make them that much healthier. But if you're concerned about the effects of pesticides and other processes on on your foods and on your health, I would recommend going to Environmental Working Group. This is EWG.org. And they are an organization that tests American produce every year to see which produce is highest in pesticides. So every year they come out with a dirty dozen, which are best to buy organic, and the clean 15, which are totally fine to buy, conventionally grown. And the concern about pesticides, and these other processes are that we don't have long-term data on their safety. So we know that really large amounts of pesticides, so that acute exposure can absolutely cause health problems, right? We do know that. However, the amount that is in food is very small. It's very small. And we know that short term, it does not cause health problems in such small amounts. That's why it's been listed as, it's been considered safe by, our FDA, our government. But we don't have, research on how these small amounts, these residues, affect our health long-term throughout a lifetime. It's not very ethical to do those kinds of studies, and we just don't have that data. So, so if you want to be cautious and you can afford it, because organic is definitely expensive, I encourage you to definitely choose foods from the Dirty Dozen list to buy organic. But otherwise, just buying fruits and vegetables, no matter organic or not, is the way to go.
Thank you so much, Nina. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yes, definitely. I just want to add that Facey Medical Foundation, where I work, offers free community classes in your area. Right now, we are virtual, although we used to be, live in-person classes at our various locations throughout the Santa Clarita and San Fernando valleys. So we have classes, for example, on sleep. If you're having trouble with sleep, definitely, you can contact us and and take our virtual sleep class. We also have classes on healthy weight management and others. So we are located at www.facey.com, and I'm in the patient education department. If you're interested in working with a dietitian, contact your doctor and ask for a referral to work with a dietitian. If you have a PPO and you can self-refer, definitely talk to your insurance and see what the best way for you what the best way is for you to work with a dietitian. But if you need any help meal planning, if you want that extra support, I highly recommend working with a health professional and getting the right information.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time and your help today, Nina. I just want to say a quick thank you again to everybody at NBC Universal for joining us today. And I want to also thank Monica again for helping us set this up. And hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And hopefully we will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.